Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us for this very, very special broadcast this evening. My name is Rabbi Shapira. As we do at the end of every year here at Ahavat Ammi Ministries, we give an update to all of our followers, all of those who financially supporting us, all of those who are praying with us, all those now part of the virtual synagogue. We give an update of everything that is happening, and also we talk about 2021. As you probably notice, in the last 2 or 3 days of the year, usually all the ministries send you letters about giving and supporting the work that they're doing. And I don't think we are an exception in that regard. We make this broadcast for twofolds, for threefolds. Number one is to let you know who we are, what do we do, what is our strategy, and number two, to assess where we at. So a lot of this information that I will share today probably usually will not share with public. It's private information, but I feel as we are partners, really partners, and we have nothing to hide in terms of what we do and how we do it and so forth. So I'm going to talk a lot about that this evening with you and assess where we at, and then also assess where we are heading in the new year in 2021 that is coming upon us. And I hope you will be blessed by this. We are going to take a journey this evening all over the world. Um, I will share some videos with you, some you've seen, some maybe you have not seen. I will talk about the global agenda and the global plan that God has for us in this end of year update. Now, with that being said, I want to be very honest with you and tell you that next 3 days are very crucial in raising funds for a very specific project that you hear me speak about. You heard me speak about in the terms of upgrade. But today I don't want to talk to you, hey, we need this X amount of dollar to do this. I want to talk to you more about the why. I want you to get the global vision of what we are doing. And I hope you will catch the vision. Maybe you already have the vision, and maybe God wants you to support this vision. But we are really entering an incredible, critical, and also not just challenging, but exciting. There's an exciting time here. And at the bottom of the screen, you will see this fund that we make available. This is where right now, our top support is truly needed. So I want to take a step back for a moment and talk about who we are as an organization. Who is Ahavat Ammi as an organization? People maybe not knowing who we are, so I want to make sure you know who we are. We are a Messianic Jewish Israeli organization that work in 3 areas. We have 3 areas that we are focused on. When the organization was launched in 2013, it was focused solely on number one, on outreach. And then in 2014, in the end of 2014, we launched our very first yeshiva. And we launched our educational arm of Yeshivat Shuvu. You hear this term Yeshivat Shuvu a lot and a lot. And by the way, today, if you do have a questions and you want to ask some questions about our organization, or about our direction, or about the synagogue, or any of those type of questions, I will answer your questions today. The very end of my presentation, I am going to answer all those questions. So make notes, and I think as our supporters, as our followers, you have every right to ask us any question that you might have on your heart. So I am going to talk about each one of those bullet points for a moment, how I define outreach, what is this education structure look like, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the third thing that because of the pandemic was introduced into the equation, and that is the virtual synagogue. Now, some of you don't know the story, but in 2004, and then formally in 2005, I established what's called Ahavat Ammi Synagogue. That is our synagogue. It was a physical synagogue that was operating in Dallas, Fort Worth. And it's operated and operates successfully all the way to 2013. 2013, as I was releasing the return of the kosher pig to the world, God has called me to an international ministry. And that's how Ahavat Ammi Ministries was established. In 2014, we launched the yeshiva. It's called Yeshivat Shuvu. And in 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, we launched the Ahavat Ammi virtual synagogue. So this is the little bit about the progression of how things came about. Um, I want to start and talk for a moment about our outreach strategy. I want to say up front, we are not a missionary organization. We're not. What I mean by a missionary organization, I have more videos refuting the anti-missionaries than probably anybody. Before you had all those other ministries doing it, we've been doing it. We're doing it quite successfully with Jews for Judaism, with Tuvia Singer, with this, with that. So we are very passionate about defending Yeshua. This is a core thing for me, is to defend Yeshua Jewishness, to defend Yeshua divinity. I wrote a book, The Return of the Kosher Pig, that deal with the deity of the Messiah, explaining in it. It became a really well-known book all over the world, but the book also caused me a lot of persecution at the same time, but it's a book that is really critical. And so we have a lot of this material. Now, since 2014 to 2020 and now 2021, I have noticed a pattern that is amazing to me. It's around the fullness of the Gentiles. I would never imagined 7-8 years ago that we would have seen such a hunger among the nations to come and grab to the tzitzit of the Jew. It's never, even the days that I led a synagogue, I would never seen such a pouring of the Spirit upon the nations to their returning to the root of their faith. So it was absolutely amazing for me to see that. So the question is, what does a Jew need to do in the world? Well, if I am dealing with reconciliation between Jewish people and Yosef, the Messiah, there's a certain thing I have to do in the world to reconcile it. But this reconciliation not going to take place until we reconcile the nations first to the Mashiach. The fullness of the Gentiles is starting the kick of the process. So we kicked it off, and I travel now for over 50 different countries all over the world, and had a chance to minister in all of those countries. And I notice a pattern. There is a lot of zeal. When I talk about a tikkun, rectification, restoration, there are a lot of people who wants to do it, and I believe that their heart is in the right place. The problem is with the knowledge. We don't have enough tools. So when we're talking about outreach, we're talking about starting a process of a rectification with the nations. Now you have a problem. People are in different language, different countries, and so forth. So when I talk about outreach, we have an outreach to the Jews and outreach to the Gentiles. Because of my native language is Hebrew, I can do it in Hebrew as well. But I wanted to establish a network. I call it network of 70 nations. Okay, what does that mean? I mean that anybody from wherever they are all over the world can come and hear the good news of the kingdom taught by a Jew in their native language so that they can understand it. I know it's very simplistic, it sounds very simple, but it's not so simple when you have people from different ethnicity, different culture, different languages. How do you do it technologically? In a minute, I will describe to you what we're doing, because I think a lot of you see us, you see the pearls of the Torah, you see us on Shabbat, but you have to understand this is really just a very small part of what we are doing as an organization. And some of those parts are missing. And the thing that is really interesting to me, even today, half of our traffic, half of our video viewership, half of the things we're doing is outside the United States. And we noticed a pattern in 2020. In 2019, it was 65% in the United States. In 2020, it's only 50% in the United States. And next year, we will have more international traffic than US-based traffic, which is really important to understand what's happening here today, that we're seeing the birthing of a real authentic messianic movement that is happening all over the world. And what's the end goal for us as an organization is to birth an authentic messianic Jewish movement. And what is an authentic messianic movement look like? It's a movement where Jewish people can come and worship God. They can come worship God, meet God, where the Gentiles are not confused, they are not going crazy, they are healthy, they are balanced, they are learning in a proper relationship with Hashem and a proper relationship with the Jewish people. It's really not that difficult to describe it, but it's very difficult to execute it and implement it on a global level. So we're looking about executing this 70 nations network in a global scale. Now, in order to do that, one of the things we need to do is to establish meaningful content to equip the nation in their native tongue. So the question is, how do you do that? How do you do that? I don't speak all of those languages. So as an organization that operating in mostly in English, we are relying on translators. And remember, we are a technology organization. That's mean that we created a platform where we partner with a certain company that translate our materials. Now, are they translating them accurately? No. Let's say you have a file of 10 minutes, okay? For a lesson for 10 minutes, I will pay somewhere around $20. I'm just giving an estimate. We'll pay $20. They say, okay, I will translate it 80% accurate for you. Now, a human being that is an expert in this language, let's say I translate something to Spanish, has to go and watch word by word, line by line, and fix it. So now we have a clean file in English that we have. Now, what we do is we build a technology platform that we suck in the file, and then we have translators in about a dozen different languages, and they work around the clock and they translate the file to the language so that people can watch the Torah lesson, as an example, in their native languages. So that's one way we go about it, but that's not the only way we go around it. The other way we do it is we do a live lessons where we translate simultaneously the shiur, the lesson, from the language to the other language. So, like, I say a sentence and they repeat it. I'm sure you've seen Pastor Matt does it. We do it in quite a few languages, and it's working very well. But that's not the essence. There is a third way where I'm really excited about it. What if we can take the best people from their countries that are natively speaking the language, and what if we can disciple them? What if we can equip them? What if we can train them? And then they produce the content in their own language. That's, to be honest with you, my preferable way to go around it is to train the best people, and then they transmit the language and the message in the native language. Of course, that takes many, many years to do. But I want to tell you something. We are successful in some of those languages, for example, in Italian or in Dutch. We had students for many, many years who've been learning, and now after they've been learning, they are producing their own content and in the native language. So we are going about this in three different ways. And this is something that is happening around the clock. You don't see it 24/7. In essence, there's a video being produced almost every day in different languages. And the interesting thing about this is we're seeing now widening of the net. We're seeing new languages, new geography. And my vision is maybe one day when I'm really, really old, is to be able to have all this material in 70 different languages. I know it sounds something futuristic, impossible, but right now we have a lot of content in about somewhere around uh, 10 languages, and it is growing by the day. But as you can imagine, we're depending on the quality of translator, we're defending, and the individuals we're discipling. It's a complicated matter because most of those people are volunteers, and it takes hundreds of man hours to be able to do that. And I appreciate you continue to pray for this amazing network that is being built up for this. Now let's talk about the third thing here. This is something really important. We also looking to create resources that are available to all the nations in the journey for restoration. Now, when I am talking here on bullet number 3 about resources that are available for all nations, I am talking about resources that are tangible. What do I mean by that? We want to see restored to the house of Israel. Well, when we look at the history of the Jewish people, and we look on other groups that they lost their Jewishness. I'll stick with one group for a moment, the Anusim. Okay, as an example, the Anusim group, when they went, what did they do? The very first thing they do, they produced materials that will support the work, support their understanding. So one of the biggest missions we've taken upon ourselves is introduce the complete Jewish life cycle, which start, of course, as we know, with Shabbat, and then the Chagim, the festival, and then the Moadim, the appointed time, and then the fast days, and then all the other national holidays, and to create a library of publications for those things. So, of course, everybody know about the Ahavat Olam Sidur as an example, but this was not the only one that we have done this year. And we don't talk about it enough. But what was done this year is nothing short of a miracle. And if nothing else, it's worthy of our support, because if it was about financial aspects, believe me when I say that, we could have made a lot more money than that. So we heard from the Lord before the pandemic, and just a second, I had to adjust brightness here. Here we go. We heard from the Lord clearly before the pandemic last year, and God spoke to us. Rabbi Bernstein is my witness. He spoke to us to start to prepare the entire world. And we started to work immediately on the Sidur. And then with the first publication we released this year is actually the very best scholarship we have to offer as an organization, is the Haggadah of Pesach. And we vowed to make it free of charge to the world, a complete Agada, and we translated 100 pages to English. English, we wrote it in addition with Hebrew, Espanol, Italian, Dutch, and German, and we release it. In this particular event, we saw about 10,000 direct and indirect downloads for this particular publication, which again, this is historic moment for Messianic Judaism. This has never been done, and it's available. It's still to this day when we're talking about it is available. And then God spoke to me and said to me, in 50 days, you're going to release for Shavuot a publication. I still, to this day, I don't know how we have done it. I don't know how we did it. And we released a incredibly huge publication, the highest scholarship, some resources that simply do not exist in Messianic Judaism. Look at this: Spanish, Italian, German, French, Portuguese, Dutch, Korean, Indonesian, Sinhala, Telugu, Shona, Russian. This is absolutely incredible. This was the second one, and we were able to see about 100,000 viewers on this worldwide event. We brought 100,000, God brought 100,000 people to celebrate Shavuot. It was absolutely amazing. And again, you asked the question, well, a lot of people celebrate Shavuot. It is true that a lot of people celebrate Shavuot, but not like that. Remember, the cantor took us through this entire event to a traditional services for for Shavuot, for Passover. In a way, it is a way for the world to come and graft themselves in to really join the house of Israel. And during these events, we have seen so many miracles. We've seen the hand of God moving in such a powerful way. And then God says, bring 100 nations to blow the shofar in Rosh Hashanah. And we release to the world again publicly for free 100 gates, 100 shofarot in English, Espanol, Italiano, French, and Korean. Again, if you have not had the chance to hit those, to see those publications, go and download them. They are available to the public for free. There's no catch in this. And this outreach event was tremendous. We have seen about 50,000 in Rosh Hashanah. Now, I'm going to talk in a minute about the plans into 2021, but I want to tell you, those 3 publications mean that we had about, 20 people at least working around more than 20, more like 30 people who have been working around the clock, slaving, laboring, pouring their heart for you. This is the work of the kingdom. This is the work of the gospel, really returning people to the roots of the house of Israel. And I'm coming to you today with really a request to support this, because I really believe that this is a worthy work. This is important. This is significant. It's at this point, it's affecting the nations. That's our outreach. Our outreach is through restoration to the authenticity of the Chagim and the Moadim with the power of the Messiah. In essence, if you just celebrate those things without Mashiach and without the house of Israel, it loses its power. I see a lot of people celebrate those things, but they do things not according to the halacha. They don't know how to daven. They don't know how to pray. And I can tell you that what we have been putting together here is something in a scholarship level that has never been done, and may never been done in Messianic Judaism. So we broke a real new ground with those 3 publications. Even to this moment today, I don't know how we pulled it all off. I'm telling you the truth. I have no earthly idea how all of this was pulled off. Now, I want to show you the result of those efforts. This is just one of three things that I'm going to discuss today, but I want to show you the result of this effort. And again, this is sensitive information I'm sharing with you today, but like I said, we have nothing to hide. You are part of the family, therefore, we can show it to you. I want you to see where we're standing in 2020. So far in 2020, we have hit just on YouTube alone. This is not on Facebook, YouTube alone. Almost 700 views, almost 700 views. And I want you to notice the number 173,000. That's not a typo. That is 173,000 hours. Look, some of those spikes that you're seeing are days when we've seen 20, 30,000 views just on YouTube alone. And remember, while all of this taking place, I was really ill with my voice. Now, I do want you to notice something amazing. We added almost 4,000 new subscribers, and look at on estimated revenue, 1 penny. You probably asked the question, why is it says only 1 penny with 700 views? How come it says 1 penny? Because you know what? I don't believe that the Gospels is for sale. I don't. I don't want you to, God forbid, to see an ad that is inappropriate or something that is misdirect you. It's caused somebody to stumble. Uh, so I made the decision in 2015 that, and at this point we have millions and millions of views. You have to remember that this is just for 1 year. I made a decision as the founder of this organization that we will never put ad on any of our video. And that is why, ladies and gentlemen, when you look at this list, there is estimated revenue. I don't know how we got a penny. We got a penny somehow, but we disable monetization. But look at those numbers. Year over year, we are seeing over 50% growth year over year. Now, I want to show you just the top list. I cannot show you everything because we will be here all night, but I think it's important for you to understand what you are part of and what you are supporting. Uh, we hit this year over 300 countries, over 300 countries. And I just want to show you something here, just the top few of them. And you notice United States is only half of the traffic. UK, Canada, India, South Africa, Australia, Holland, Indonesia, Brazil, Germany, France, Israel, Mexico. So, I mean, it is actually over 200 cities, 200 countries, excuse me, who are watching and they are trusting us and they're trusting what we're giving them. Now, here is the thing that you're probably not aware of. The numbers I show you on the screen a second ago, these numbers, it's represent only one channel. This is not everything, and this is just YouTube. So remember what I showed you a second ago, establish meaningful content to equip the nation in their native tongue. I want you to understand this in this context, that we actually have not one, not two, but we have individual YouTube channels that have a dedicated content in the native tongue. Now, granted, not all of them are big, but they are growing very fast now. So we have a channel in Spanish that have right now 2,500 viewers, and it's growing. And those people are getting the Spanish content, only Spanish content on the Spanish channel. We have a dedicated channel in Dutch. We have a dedicated channel in Italian, German, French, and just a few weeks ago, we launched one for Africa. What does that mean? It means that all the program is teaching for Africa by either our staff for Africa or me teaching Africans. I teach differently, or in Russian, or even a channel for children. This is the work of the kingdom. So, all in all, we have right now 21,000 subscribers on YouTube alone. But again, our vision is to reach not 20,000 people. Our vision is to reach 100,000 people and reach the millions. And you should know we are a small organization. Our budget is quite limited, and everything that is done here is because somebody sacrificed himself. And I'm not just saying that I'm sacrificing myself, which I am, and my family is, and even my son is, and my wife. I tell you, we're thankful to do it. We wouldn't do anything else. Our sacrifices are, are this is what God wants us to do. And you should know, I rarely sleep. I work 24/7, even on Shabbat. I work probably harder than any other day. And the reason is I am overseeing what's happening in the other channels: Spanish, Italian, French, German. But there are others who come alongside and do a lot of work here. For example, one of them is Pastor Matt, another one is Rabbi Bernstein, and there are several others that now are being raised up. So the vision is to raise up the teachers all over the world so they can take the burden or share the burden of teaching. And we have right now about, I would say, about 30, good 30 to 35 qualified teachers, and this network is just continue to grow and grow and grow. And the vision is to have hundreds of teachers, hundreds of Torah teachers that are qualified, being trained. So you're getting stuff that you can trust, and that's where I spend most of my time, training them, equipping them, and so forth. The other venue for outreach, again, this is all what I'm telling you here. YouTube, we don't charge, we don't give you subscription base for YouTube. Hey, we have right now 1,500 lessons. Go at it. We make it free of charge. We're happy. We share those things around. This is all hard, but remember, it takes time to create the covers, to upload the videos, to edit the videos. All of this take many, many man hours to do. So I want you to put this in perspective and understand that I don't even know how Ahavat Ammi financially operating right now as the founder. It's a miracle. It's absolutely a miracle, and I'm thankful for God for this thing. It's all Hashem glory for His name. May His name be blessed. And maybe today is the day that you're saying, hey, I want to be part of supporting this, because what excites me now very much is those international networks that are being expanded and growing and so forth. They're growing fast, friends, very fast right now. Let's talk about the other venue that we made it to you, not on YouTube, but I want you to be aware of that. We made available for you free of charge a mobile app that have my top 500 teachings that is updated weekly. And I want you to notice it is growing so fast that we can barely keep up with this right now. 10,000 subscribers, and it is available on both Apple Store, and it's also available on Google Play. One of the visions that I have is to expand the mobile application in the year 2021. I will be talking about this momentarily. But again, I want to make sure you understand you can go download it, get notification when we go live, get all that good stuff. And on the portion of the week, on the holiday, on the feast, on end times, everything is available for you on this wonderful, beautifully made mobile app. So one of the things with the mobile revolution is we feel that people are loving, they're loving um, um, their devices. So we made this available for you. Now we have a third thing that we have for you that I want you to be aware. This is a difficult one for us because it's so restrictive, but it's still something that we're using quite a bit. We're using it quite a bit, but it's kind of difficult. It's Facebook. I want to talk a little bit about Facebook. Facebook, we have a dedicated channel by language, and we have about 7,000 in English, about 12,000 in Spanish, and we do many live teachings, many uh, uh, live teaching on Facebook dedicated by channels, by the teachers. Even today, right now, some are watching me on Facebook, some are watching me on YouTube, and we want to make this accessible to everybody. And we're looking to see how can we expand this in 2021 with all of this saying putting together. We're hitting every time, every broadcast. We will hit somewhere around the 40,000, roughly about 40,000 potential people who will be watching it in a different venue, and it's growing. So the outreach arm is amazing. And okay, for sensitivity reason, I don't speak about this, but you will be amazed to know how many Jewish people reaching out to us, making contact, and you will be actually quite amazed to know that many Jewish people find the Jewish Messiah in our broadcasts online. I don't advertise it, I don't make a show of that. It's sensitive. Some of them will find the Messiah. I find the Messiah, and they are even part of religious communities, believe it or not. They make contact, they write me, and they say, hey, I watched this, I want to talk to you. And this has been an exceptional year with the pandemic. We have seen more and more Jewish people who receive the Jewish Messiah more than even 2019, without a doubt. So this is a little bit about our outreach. I want to shift gear and talk a little bit about the second area we're working in. It is our educational area. This is so critical. In 2014, God told me, open a yeshiva. You know what I did? I took all of our money with very little money, and we established a green screen, uh, lowest end equipment. We had barely any money, and we took all of our money as a family actually, and we moved because this new place had a shed, and I said this shed will be perfect for a studio. It was a room like 14 by 14. And then I took a bunch of children. They were aged 13, 14, 15. And I said, you like technology, don't you? I want you to know the story, how the largest Messianic yeshiva in the world started. I know it would be nice to tell you, hey, we started. No, we took a place that used to store lawnmowers and and all your gardening. We gathered it out all with our own hands. And then I told the children, go learn how to use it. And they had no idea what they were doing. And it was amazing. From that, we launched Yeshivat Shuvu in 2014. Here we are to 2021, almost. And Yeshivat Shuvu is the largest yeshiva in the world. Is the largest one by far. Not this and not that and not, I mean, I don't want to mention names, but none of them are even coming close to the numbers of students that we are having. And one thing you need to understand is the reason we need this education is, look, I grew up in Judaism. I know Judaism. I understand Judaism. A lot of people learn Judaism, but they learn it through YouTube and Google or reading book. You can't. You can't do it this way. It's not the way to. You need to learn it with a rabbi. And one of the things we have done is my vision in building the yeshiva is to go to areas, believe it or not, of people who cannot afford it. That has been my heart from the get-go, to establish messianic centers in places like India, Africa, Asia, South America. The goal of the yeshiva was never to make money. And actually, I want to talk about this for a moment because this is another great area that we need your help. Look at this. Yeshivat Shuvu is the largest messianic yeshiva in the world. Out of almost 1,000 students, almost, not quite, 25% of the students are on scholarship. Can you believe that? Roughly 250 scholarships were awarded for roughly $500,000. I want to explain something to you. Our annual revenue as an organization has never been 500,000 or anything close to it. I want you to put it in perspective so you understand this. Every time a student comes, it is costing us roughly, every time a student comes, it is costing us roughly over the course of 4 years about $2,000. That's the cost. There's a lot of licensing costs and a lot of our time costs, and it's we are paying per ed, okay? And one of the things we have done is we supply a lot of scholarships. Again, we don't talk about that because I don't think we need to boast on this, but I want you to know that even this year, was our biggest year of giving scholarship ever. And I really believe by the name of our Messiah that in 2021 we will be able to give more scholarships. We still have, for example, right now, 200 new scholarships that are allocated to Africa, which is absolutely amazing. Look at this with me for a moment. There are 3 different programs. We have our program, they're all part of this 1,000 students worldwide. There is one program that is called Yeshivat Shuvu. This is our flagship rabbinical program. And I understand not everybody can get to the level that they can go through this program. It's a 4-year program. It costs about $2,000 to do it. Now we have a new program. When I say new, it's been around for about 2 years, that is completely subsidized. It's running until December 31st, $400. It's called kosherpastor.com. This program, as you know, run by Pastor Matt, who is my student. I am teaching in this program as well, among others, like Mr. Eldad Kainan from Israel, who is a leading scholar and burial tombs and caves in 1st, 2nd, 3rd century. And we filmed all of this in Israel. It's cost thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars to film all of this in Israel. This is absolutely remarkable. And the last thing we launch is a dedicated yeshiva standalone program for all of our family in Africa and African Americans, where we awarded 300 scholarships. 300 scholarships for that. And again, this is really exciting to me to be able to do that. And everything that you see here on the screen is truly amazing. For example, I'll show you a couple of examples. Did you know that we have a dedicated yeshiva channel in Africa right now, a YouTube channel, but also a physical yeshiva that operates? What does that mean? It means that every week we have live classes. We have live classes. We teach actually in a classroom setting every week. This is a commitment. We are committed to the Torah. We are committed for all of these things. Serious commitment. Look at this. This is what it's look like. If you have not had a chance to look at that, check it out sometimes. af.shuvu.tv or Kosher Pastor Program with Pastor Matt. What an amazing opportunity this is. And here's the amazing thing. This type of programs, like you see with Pastor Matt, it is being translated. It's been translated to now to Spanish, to Italian, to German, to Dutch. Very soon I'm going to talk about the new languages and the new geographies when we're talking about this. But those programs are here, and the problem is it's grown so fast, but you understand it's not necessarily that we grew financially fast. Our exposure is grown fast. As in a nonprofit organization, your goal is not to make money. I hope everybody understands it. Our goal is to expand the kingdom. We're not here to become rich. If I wanted to become rich, there are other things I could have done with my time. Those of you know my background, I have been very successful in business world, and I gave it all up to serve the Messiah and serve the God of Israel. And I gave all of my practices away just to be able to do that. So the goal is not to make money, at least not for me, but at the same time, it takes a lot of money to run this infrastructure. Now I hope you have a good understanding of the infrastructure, of the operation, the complexity. So let's say we run a program in Spanish or Italian, we have to translate the entire thing. And sometimes it takes us years to do this. But now we're in a point that it's all coming together, and almost everything is getting translated quickly to many languages. It is as God breathed life upon all of this work. And that's why I really believe that Ahavat Ammi Ministries and Yeshivat Shuvu is a good place to invest and to support. It's I am touched by God to be able to have such an impact with this amazing staff all over the world. Now that you understand our educational area, I want to touch base on the last one, the virtual synagogue. I never dreamed in my life that I will be running a synagogue. Let me start it again. I've done that, but now in my role, in this apostolic role, I've been traveling pretty much every week prior to the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, God spoke to me and said, arise and shine as an organization. Now you will be ministering to the tens and tens of thousands. And we decided, me and the cantor and others, to come and launch this synagogue. And I tell you something, launching and working this virtual synagogue is a full-time job. Even if I didn't have those two other arms, the educational arm and the outreach arm, the virtual synagogue is keeping us so busy that we are overwhelmed by this. On Shabbat, all the broadcasts, Friday, Sunday morning. And then remember, we have a broadcast every day in a different language, and then in the feast and the festivals and all of those things. And we want to do those things in excellence. All of this takes hundreds of hours. Let me talk to you about this, because I don't see the virtual synagogue going away. I don't. Even with the pandemic let down, at least for 2021, I see the virtual synagogue continue, in my humble opinion. Now, it can change, but right now I see the virtual synagogue actually exploding, growing so much that the vision that God is giving me is very clear. Bring the entire world every Shabbat to a worldwide shacharit. So the Ahavat Ulam Sidur that everybody love. This guy here, let me see if I can show you. the Ahavat Olam Sidur is to make it available in more languages so people can come every Shabbat and pray and daven with us. And the services are so impactful and so powerful with the cantor. Let's understand what is in front of us and what we are committing to do in the future of 2021. What is the vision? To establish global, authentic, virtual Messianic synagogue that operates in every nation, every tribe, and I apologize, I'm missing an E there, and every tongue. This is significant. I believe that Messianic Judaism need to be available to the world, the entire world. Messianic Judaism need to be exactly the type of Judaism that is open to the world. I spent a lot of time, 15 years, in the one of the largest Messianic organization in the world. And then I ended up leaving this organization. And you know why? For one reason. They had a problem with the way I teach Gentiles about the Torah. At the end of the day, that was the contention point. Friends, I understand and I see what God is doing in the world, and I have to remain faithful to my calling. And the amazing thing, it's affecting Jews and Gentiles every week. So right now we are working on a big translation project for the Ahavat Olam Sidur. And the Chazan is the best Chazan in the Messianic Jewish movement by far. He's a classically trained Chazan. And remember those three, the Night of the Bride and 100 Gates under the Shofar. These type of services are not available anywhere. And I'm not saying it because I want to boast. I am telling you is because I have a lot of data points. I visited over 50 countries. I visited hundreds and hundreds of Messianic congregations all over the world. I know what's out there. And what is being provided for you in the virtual synagogue cannot be taken lightly. You cannot take it lightly. The effort and the tool, the training, you are getting a training in real time, how to pray, how to worship as a Jew, and of course you're getting Torah studies. Every Shabbat we connect with you, and we've been expanding it this year. We do the Erev Shabbat, and we're going to have a new publication. I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. And then Shabbat morning, our full-blown Shacharit. And then we do the Haftarah, the study of the prophets, a depth study of the prophets section. And then we do the Havdalah with a new focus on the New Testament. We want to be balanced. And then every Sunday, we also teach you how to do a shacharit, a weekday shacharit. Again, and I have no problem with people coming and it's learning and they adapting it to their own community. We love you. It's not about us having a monopoly. That's why we put the on the screen, we put the slides, and we're making sure that you have it. Why? Because this is part of the fullness of the Gentiles. This synagogue is part of this, and the virtual synagogue is growing now. It's growing to many languages, and you asked the question, well, why don't you make the Siddur available free of charge? And I'm going to answer it, because I tell you something, if we did not have the revenue of the Siddur coming into Ahavat Ammi Ministries, we would not be able to even function. Everybody need to understand it. We gave those 3 publications free of charge, but the Siddur have to be funding other projects. For example, I'm going to give you one example, one use case so you understand. This is the Ahavat Olam Siddur that was printed just this week and last week in Africa. We printed 2,000, I believe, either 1,000 or 2,000 in Shona and 2,000 in English. Now, you notice like here we put a phone number This is for somebody in Africa. They can get the Siddur without cost. Now you ask the question, how is it fair? How is it fair that they get the Siddur free? It is because it's an issue of economics. It's an area that we need to support them. Okay, or in India, we need to support them. So we're making a decision. This is where we're going to invest in this financially, where people in North America, they can pay the 55 bucks for a Siddur. But people in Africa, in places like Nigeria or Sudan, they can't do that. You understand? They can't do that. So for us, it's an easy decision here. It's a very easy decision. And we are making the Siddurim available in areas that we cannot do. For example, just this week, just yesterday, the Siddurim arrived to Italy. This is the way the Siddur look in Italian. We subsidize the Siddurim to those Messianic communities in Italy significantly. And why are we doing it? We're doing it because this is the work of the kingdom. And the kingdom of God is being expanded right now. Just this week, look, we printed this in Shona. This is for Jewish outreach, to reach our Jewish people. And we're going to give it completely free of charge. So again, I don't want you to think that this is some sort of a money-making scheme. It's not. Even the Siddurim are giving freely in the hundreds and now in the thousands. And it takes so much effort to produce them and to lay them down. Remember, the people who are laying them out, those are our staff. And they have to be paid to support their own family. And even they are underpaid significantly. And the virtual synagogue is absolutely a blessing. Despite the difficulties, a blessing. But I want to tell you that we are facing a very significant issue now. And you need to know this because this is something now I hope, before I close that and move to the next section, I'm going to talk about the future. I want to talk about this. We actually, before I talk about this, I want to tell you what has been my dream. First has been my dream. My dream was to obtain a property and build not just a virtual school, a physical place where I can train key leaders and bring them to me and to train them and to equip them, and then also to build state-of-the-art library, state-of-the-art set, state-of-the-art green screen. All of our stuff at this point is absolutely obsolete. We cannot use it. This is like a garbage equipment, okay? And we wanted to build somewhere pretty beautiful where people can come and relax and be trained from all over the world. When we look upon this, it was absolutely not possible for us to receive the financing to do it. We can't. We don't have enough money, and the banks won't loan us. So upon much prayer about this, we understand that God did not make provision, and you didn't see me starting yet. I might do it in 2020. I don't know yet. 2021, a building fund. But right now, we just can't do it. And we have to do the best with what we have. And it's not ideal because now you see that tens of thousands of people are depending upon this technology to work. You need to understand I am in an area where there's only copper wires. Those copper wires can take you so much. So we're actually uploading files 24/7. There is upload, and it takes hours, tens of hours. When we build those schools, again, we have to re-render those videos with the subtitle. It takes so much effort to do this, so much processing, and then all those uploads. Sometimes it's running for a couple of days. And of course, we're trying to do live lessons. Remember, the synagogue is running 24/7 in some language, and essentially is a content that's coming out of me to the world. So with that being said, we approach our different vendors and say, can you help us? Is there a solution? And they say, no, there are not. Finally, AT&T came with a solution for us. The problem with the solution, it's require us to put $24,000. It's a contract for 2 years that we have to do. And again, I'm talking to them right now and I'm trying to see what we can do, how we can work with them. The problem is we have actually 48 hours until the end of the year to make a decision if we can do it or not, because they gave us kind of not kind of, they gave us an ultimatum. They said this offer is valid only until this time. Even as I speak to you right now, we have not raised these funds, not even for the $12,000. And this is where I want to tell you something. If you are not convinced that this work is real, I mean, you know that the virtual synagogue is real. I don't know if people understood how much more there is outside the virtual synagogue. So today there is this special fund called the Virtual Synagogue Upgrade. I think this is the number one challenge that we are having before the end of the year, and especially those who are grateful for the virtual synagogue and are in Judaism, you support the synagogue. You support your local synagogue. The days of a local synagogues to me are over. Everything is going to remain virtual for the foreseeable future. And we're asking now, I mean, really, the next 48 hours, we don't even have the first 12,000. We need to reach this 12. We need to reach this 24 really to be able to upgrade it. And I hope you understand why it's critical, because everything is depending upon this technology. They want to run direct and dedicated fiber to the house where we will have excellent connection, which will allow us to grow this here in the days to come. And we have to grow it. So we're asking you really to prayerfully consider. I believe with those thousands and thousands of viewers, if just people will come and they will give, each person will give whatever the Lord lay upon them his heart, we'll be able to reach the goal. And I hope that somehow miraculously before 1231, before the end of the year, we will be able to hit it. So again, this is where the number one priority that we have right now in terms of upgrading this infrastructure. Yeah, thank you, Naomi, for putting the link. But again, it's on the bottom of your screen also. You can read it, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So what now you understand that the goal for the virtual synagogue to bring the entire world, every Shabbat, to a worldwide shacharit. How do we get there? Well, we're going to get there by establishing many communities all over the world and make the Sidurim available. So here's where we at as of today. The Dutch has been published. The German is going to be published in the next 48 hours. More than likely, we will have it available the first or second week of January. Spanish has been published already. French, we're having some troubles. We'll get it done. Portuguese is something that I will talk about in a minute, but we are going to release it in Portuguese in January 30th. With God will, it will be released, and it's going to be a very special day for the Portuguese people. Basha, this is the language in Indonesia. We're already working on the translation. I don't have it here yet. Sinhala, that's the native language in Sri Lanka. It's going to be released here in January. Italian printed, actually Sidurim Hit arrived today to Italy, and also Shona for Africa, for our people. That has already been done. Now you need to understand all the layout work, all the work that is being done to prepare those to printing is done by our own printing house. It's done by our own home. It's done by us. That's when we have to pay for the layout and all of that good stuff. And then we are partnering with different printers to print it. So all of this it's not an easy business, you know. So again, we have the desire to see more nation, more translation, more geography And this is an amazing move of God that we're seeing. I don't know of any organization that is have this vision that we're having right now. And frankly, if I may be honest with all of you, I think this vision needs to be supported more. It's need to be supported better. I think we are really unique, and what is done here is really unique, and it's prophetic for the end time. So uh, this is something I don't know if many of you understand the breadth and the scope of what's being done here. I want to talk for a moment on the future plans, first by geography, and I want to show you a couple of videos also from these last couple of years talk about those things. So I'm going to take each and every one of them side by side and describe it, and understand a lot of you probably don't have the patience and don't want to see through this and so forth. But there's some of you might be interested because what's happening all over the world, and this is something that I, as the founder of this organization, always stand back and I said, God, show me where you breathe life, where you're breathing right now, where's the spirit is moving, and that's where I want to be, that's where I want to work. And God spoke to me about 2021 specifically. He's giving me a word for 2021 about replacing the roots, replacing spiritual roots. Go after strongholds. God told me 2021, I want you to go after strongholds. And as you go after strongholds, I want you to replace those roots, work on this. And he's giving me this passage from, from Isaiah 58, when it says, some of you will rebuild the ancient ruins, will rise up the age-old foundation, will be called repairer of the breach, restorer of the streets for dwelling. And this is where my heart is really, indeed, my heart is in raising up many, many people who will be the repairer of the breach and establish this new foundation. That means we have to go to those difficult places and deal with them in 2020. Now, I want you to walk with me a little bit, and I'll tell you a little bit of stories as we go through them of how the Holy Spirit speak to me um, in all of those places, and how God really touched my heart. I know that a lot of this is completely off camera now, and I'm really open with you because God does speak to me a lot about certain group of people and certain situations and so forth. And this is kind of what I want to share with you, maybe a few videos, a few moments from different geographical areas and so forth. So um, let me put the list up, and we'll try to take them one by one and talk about them. Okay, the first one I want to talk about is Brazil. Uh, I believe that Brazil is going to be, when everything's said and done, either Brazil or Africa will be our biggest work. This is an important moment for our Brazilian people. And you see them near on the list. By the way, those are not in order of priority, I should say. This is kind of like the way God spoke to me, and I want to share some things with you. So, Brazil Farm and Lunch of the Work. Now, I want to talk frankly and honestly about Brazil. I have had a desire to launch the work in Brazil already from 2015. God spoke to me so clearly about this. And then I think in 2018 or 19, I had a chance to visit the Great Portuguese synagogue in Holland. And the Spirit of God, when I walked to the synagogue, and it's not like a fancy synagogue, it's not at all. The Spirit of God hit me, and I heard those words. The final episode of the Anusim, those are those who have been forcibly converted and been scattered, has not been written yet. My feet were shaking, and I can tell you that it was something that I cannot forget. I had such a burning desire, and we've been working on that, and we finally come to the point that we're launching Yeshivat Shuvu in Pesach. More than likely, it will be launching Pesach, and also the Besora according to COVID-19, which is currently being translated to Portuguese. And the very first thing that is going to be released in Portuguese is going to be the Ahavat Olam Sidur. And this is going to be, that's finished. We're just laying it out, and this next 30 days is critical. And I really wanted to pray for that, because we always suffered failure working with Portuguese. And the reason is the people who were working with us, they A, did not have the vision, or B, they didn't have the spiritual strength to oversee this work. And the kingdom of God, friends, is a kingdom of collaboration. I tell you, all of you, it's important for each and every one of us to know our limitations. Where is our limitations? So others can come and assist us. And unfortunately, it didn't work so well for us. I want you to understand that Jewish people, Portuguese descendants, are scattered all throughout Brazil today, even to this day, all throughout Portugal. Those are the descendants of the house of Israel, okay? Those are direct descent of the house of Israel. I want you to watch with me for 1 minute, just a short clip of this day, this glorious, glorious day that I visited the virtual synagogue when I visited in Holland, the great Portuguese synagogue. Check this out. This is the day that God really spoke to me in such a powerful way. Maybe we'll watch a 2-3 minutes of this clip. Give me 1 second. Shalom, everybody. This is Rabbi Shapira. Today we can give you this announcement and give you a brief teaching here from inside one of the most incredible places you can ever want to imagine. Matter of fact, I'm going to ask my cameraman to show them up and down where I'm at. I am inside the compound of the great Portuguese synagogue right here in Holland. So I want you to close your eyes for a moment and imagine this place 400 years ago. What did it look like 400 years ago? First of all, there wasn't this building that says here, I will come in your mercy and I will come to your house, okay? And then there is the year that this great compound was established. Let's talk about this. So everybody know the story of the Spanish Inquisition. What happened to the Jewish people? How did they get to Amsterdam? Well, the Jews went to two places. Some Jews, the less wealthy Jews, they went to South and Central America. But those who actually could leave after 1492, after the Spanish Inquisition, those who could leave ended up leaving to Amsterdam, and with one goal. Imagine 80 years later, with one goal, they are coming here to restore the Jewish faith. Okay, they're coming in, they're obsessed, and they're saying, we will do whatever it takes to do that. So what did they do? They built this incredible compound, and in a second I will show you this compound. And the very first thing, if you don't mind, just bring him to this wall. The very first thing that is being established is right here behind me.
It's the Etz Chaim Library, the house of study, and they are establishing here the greatest publishing house in Europe. The Anusim, now they've been stranger from Judaism for 80 years, for about 2 generations. So basically, they knew their grandparents were Jewish, are establishing here a great publishing house. You see here, you can see Sifriyat Etz Chaim. They're establishing it, and they are going to do whatever they can to restore themselves back to Judaism. So this is the beginning, and only about 75 years later, look at this incredible synagogue. Only about 75 years later, they're coming back here and they're building the synagogue. First, they restore the knowledge and the education. As a matter of fact, they start building this compound there, and I will show you some of this compound. One of the very first things that they're doing, they're building this as a library, starting to raise their youth. This is what it's going to take for those who are from Spanish descendants. You're probably not going to see the complete restoration. It's probably going to take 2 generations to be able to do this type of work. So start with your youth. This is a great lesson for us today. And the reason we're talking about this today with you is I have a great desire in the month of September to do a road trips. So to all the Sfaradim, to all the Spanish descendants, to bring them here with me. So if you are from Spanish descendants and you want to come and be with me and to come to experience some of the journey of the Sfaradim and the Anusim, then I encourage you to come and register. We are thrilled to be able to come and bring a group here. And if everything works as well as expected, we should be able to pray.
Let me for a moment show you a little bit inside the synagogue. I want to show you this. This is the moment that touched my heart more than anything else. Look at this. Check this out. This is their names as they came as complete Christians that looking to return. I remember this moment when I saw this. Check this out. Names, like you will see here the name, if you see the name of Barbanel, okay, or the name Cohen. Those are very Jewish names. Okay, but some of the names are not very Jewish. I mean, they don't seem Jewish, at least. Henry Quest, Barbosa, Curiel, Pinto, De Costa, Salam, Curiel. You see those names repeat again and again, and they're coming here for one purpose. They're coming here to restore. They restore their Jewishness. When you can show them is the traditional synagogue that
the welcoming of additional Jewish people who are coming. Remember, they're coming here speaking Spanish and Portuguese. The majority of the people who came here, they're coming from Portugal. And throughout these walls, we see their names. And you have to understand, they're coming here as completely goyim. They're not Jews. They already accepted, a lot of them accepted the Pinto, the Pena. A lot of them are requesting, accepting Catholicism, but now they want to come back and to be restored. So let's see some of the under name. We have Vias. Vias is one of the names. Henry Quest, we see this name used a lot. let's see, the Ateas, Korea. So, today, if you have one of those names, it is more than likely that you are connected to the Jewish ancestries that come here. So we have a very detailed record of all the Jewish people who are coming here. But remember, they have a huge task ahead of themselves, and the task that they have ahead of themselves is to restore themselves back to the house of Israel. And that story is a very difficult story to tell because it's a story that spans at least over 150 years. First, they established the Bet Midrash, they established the yeshiva, and only then later they established the synagogue here. And again, it's important for us to notice here. Wow, let's look. This is kind of like the place they used to meet. You can show them. Check this out.
Obviously, it's an amazing video, which I cannot show the entire video, but I hope everybody now would probably want to see what was it like inside the synagogue. Let me show you inside this synagogue right now.
Everybody should know that this synagogue is still working synagogue today on Shabbat. On Shabbat, people using it. Okay, come. So you can imagine that each one of those seats was like assigned for a person, and the Portuguese had a very special blessing that only the Portuguese make. They don't say Shabbat Shalom. They have a very unique blessing, and a very unique way they stored their Torah, the tefillin, and everything else that is quite unique to the Portuguese community, which is one of the restoration was there. So let's get closer and what?
You know the blessing?
I don't want to say it wrong, but I will know it today when I meet my friend, my Portuguese expert. Yes. So, in matter of fact, you can see here a real dedication. Remember, they are in Holland, but they don't speak Dutch. They are speaking Portuguese. Very interesting. And you see here the full dedication of the synagogue of the year 5435 with the verse from Exodus 25, verse 8. They will make me a sanctuary and I will dwell inside of them. That is the passage here, and we see some of the people, the founder of the synagogue. We have Yitzchak the Pinto, Moshe Curiel, Yitzchak Abol de Fonseca. Those are some of the founders of this particular synagogue, and you can also see from their name that they are. It's not exactly Jewish names, but they were Jews, And here, of course, they stole the Torah. And we can see the replica up there of the Ten Commandments. And I tell you, just being here and thinking about the acoustics of this place, right? A cantor would stand there facing the Torah. If you come, again, imagine, come from this angle. I would like to show the people. The Chazan, the cantor, stand right there. And as he lead the prayer, the Shacharit morning prayers, he's praying straight toward to the Torah. Absolutely incredible, because the way the place is being built up, if you say, you heard the echo, it would have been absolutely amazing to be able to pray and daven here and just close your eyes and imagine the people are standing from both sides and they're facing each other. It would be absolutely glorious. So this synagogue has been actively used now for over 400 years. And this is the very first, the original Anusim synagogue. As you notice here, though, there is some already. It's very plain. I want to make it clear. Look, show them. At the end of the day, it's very, very plain, but it's beautiful, but plain at the same time. And the reason is, again, they were sure that they are just here for a very short time before the Messiah will come. So here, who was sitting here? That was the seats of the elders in the community. The elders used to be sitting right here. Quite incredible. So what we are doing, we are planning a trip, a route.
Obviously, this is an amazingly touching video that you're watching, but here is what you need to understand. Let me connect the dot. Last year, the cantor was with me. I brought Chazan Gordon, and Chazan Gordon stood right there in the middle of this synagogue and started to chant in Hebrew, just sing in Hebrew. And you can imagine the place, the echo, and Jewish people were just flocking to the cantor and said, "Can you sing some more? Can you sing some more?" It was one of the most amazing things that have ever happened to us. And God spoke to me in this moment, and He said to me, they are not dead yet. They are yet to be discovered. So, what is happening now prophetically is important in the context of Isaiah 58. We are reestablishing, rediscovering, and reconnecting the Portuguese community with those roots that are taking place. This is why this work deserves support today. We are pouring significant effort into this Sfaradim Anusim project that is happening right now with the Portuguese. And I want you to go to our YouTube channel, watch those videos. You will weep. The Spirit of God spoke to us so clearly in this place. So what's happening now? We are connecting something that has been on hold for hundreds of years. We are connecting it with those who are contacting us all over the world and say, "I have a desire to return. I have a desire to come back. Will you help us?" And this is the vision. What you're seeing here is this vision of restoration. Let's talk for a moment about the next project that is huge on our list. Let's talk about Italy, Torah 5 on Worldwide Shacharit. Do you know that we have been on our way to Italy when the pandemic hit? It was our biggest event, release of the Sidur at the exact same time when it took place, and we had to cancel it because there is a prophecy that speaks about the Messiah that is sitting on the gates of Rome. In essence, what the rabbis explained to us is when there is a revival in Italy, in Rome, again, we're talking about spiritual roots. When we're replacing those roots, so one root we're dealing with today with the Anusim is Catholicism. But what about the root of 2,000 years ago that found in Roma? The rabbi said that when this root is broken, guess what's going to happen? When this root is broken, the Mashiach will come back to the house of Israel. This is important. This is significant. I want you to take a moment. Let me see if I have it here. Maybe I do, maybe I don't know. I want you to see this. This is amazing. What's happening here? Just be patient with me for 1 second. Let me see. Maybe I have it, maybe I don't. I'm supposed to have it all ready for you, but even the rabbi make mistakes sometimes. Let me see if I have it. Here we go. I think I got it. Check this out. Check out with me this video. Italy is huge. When we're experiencing right now our real growth in Italy, we have to return to Italy. The Besorek on COVID-19 being translated right now. Today, as we talk in December 29, the Sidurs, all the Sidurims hit Italy today. It is an exciting and prophetic day for Italy because we are replacing a root of a false Messiah. We are replacing this root today. And God has issued this prophetic call to Italy, and now we are getting ready to bring a Torah to Italy soon, a Torah revival to do the worldwide shacharit, to shake the gates of Rome. Check this out with me, will you? Thank you so much.
Shalom Chaverim, my name is Rabbi Shapira. I'm the founder of Yeshivat Shuvu. In 2014, the Lord has sent me for the very first time to Italy. The Lord knows the times and the season, and He commanded me to bring a Torah to south of Italy. Later on, we launch our yeshiva in Italian. God has been preparing us for this day and this season that is coming about us in Rome and in all over Italy. Just around the corner on February 28th, February 29th, and March 1st, we will go up to the rooftop. We will bring the wall, we will bring Jerusalem back to reconcile with Italia. Let me tell you what is taking place as we invite you to this prophetic conference. The worldwide shacharit, the very first time in the history for the last 2,000 years, will take place by Messianic Jews, follower of Yeshua the Nazarene in Rome, with the songs, hymns, psalms, prayers, and the Torah of Israel. In Sanhedrin 98, we read an important passage. It's Rabbi Yeshua, son of Levi, who meet Elijah the prophet, and he's asking him the question, where is the Messiah? And he answered him like that. He says, the Messiah is sitting at the gates of Rome, putting bandages on the wounds of the house of Israel. The Messiah has been locked at the gates of Rome for 2,000 years. Now it's the time, under the mandate that given by the prophet Isaiah in the 22nd chapter, to go up to the rooftop and cry out. This event in Rome, Italy, is a different event. It's an event to cry out to Messiah, to reveal himself at the gates of Rome. Reveal himself to the house of Israel at the gates of Rome. This is a spiritual charge event where you're going to hear world-class teachers like Eldad Canaan, who bringing a fresh message from Zion. Some local Italians who got the vision and the revelation of the breaking down the spirit that held Messiah from returning right in Italy. I will be teaching. The cantor, a world-class cantor, will be with us to lead us in the Shabbat morning prayers. Here is the great thing. The Siddur, the Hebrew prayer book, will be released in this prophetic Shabbat in Italy, in Rome, and the Torah will be read in Italy. We invite you, if you are Italian descent, or perhaps you're even in Europe, but specifically Italian, we invite you to be there with us, to break and loosen, just as it says, Adonai Natir Asurim. The Lord loosen the prisoners. My name is Rabbi Shapira, and I invite you to this prophetic event for 3 days. Spend the Shabbat with us, hear the teachings, hear the song of the worship, and do it in your native language as you yourself being restored by crying on the rooftop to hasten the Geulah. Visit our website, register today. We'll see you. Litraot kol tuv.
I hope that everybody understood that this particular event had to be canceled in the very last moment due to the pandemic. We were with the suitcases ready to go, and God says, hold on. I knew in this moment, before I even opened to the pen to write the Besorah according to COVID-19, that the cancellation of this event and this virus, because we're in the end times. I am telling you this today so you understand that we still have a business to do in the gates of Rome. And I hope everybody understands just how important, how prophetic it is. And what's happening now, it's amazing because the work is happening in Rome. All over Italy, Yeshua, he's being proclaimed in power and in strength. And you're supporting us means that you're supporting the Italian. Because guess what? They are supported by us directly. Directly. I want you to understand. All of those international entities are supported by us as an organization. And now you have the breadth of understanding what's happening. Let's continue quickly on this list. I hope that this is a blessing for you to see it and hear the stories. There is so much more than just the virtual synagogue that is happening here. And sometimes people don't understand what this is about. And I hope that this evening, despite the fact that it's a lengthy conversation, you get the messianic vision of God, what God is doing in the world right at this time. Let's talk about India. Let's talk about India. Do you know that India is the place that Thomas the Apostle went to? Thomas went there, and by grace of God, in 2014 and 2015, God sent Joseph John. He called me one day and says, I don't know anything. I don't understand anything, but I listened to what you say. I have to meet with you. I said, where are you? I said, I'm flying to Dallas just in order to meet with you. And he showed up just to meet with me, just to have a meeting face to face with me. And ever since then, what took place is again the supernatural. India is right now ready. India is ready to receive the very first Sefer Torah. I got to tell you, I visited again India, and in this visit, a very strong wave of anti-Semitism hit. I was quite shocked by this. Joseph John is supported by us. We are bringing the Torah to India. Look at this. We're bringing the Torah to Italy. The Torahs are sitting. The Torahs are waiting right here. And the second this pandemic lifted, will be lifting, we will continue to physically establish those communities all over the world. This is, friends, what you are supporting in these last days. And I asking this, all this stem and all of this is this virtual synagogue that now need to be supported. We need to hit this goal. We need to hit this financial goal. We should not be struggling because the work is exploding. I want to talk to you about another route for a moment. I want to talk to you about Indonesia. This is a serious matter, and it's a matter that should be affecting each and every one of us. In 2015, I was invited to go to India, to Indonesia, and it was an urgent SOS call from an individual named Binyamin. Binyamin called me and explained to me the situation. He said, Rabbi, we have a situation. There is a leading anti-missionary who built his headquarters in Indonesia, and he is causing a nightmare in the community to the point that my people start to lose the faith and leave the faith. The reason they leave the faith, because he's ripping apart the New Testament. Will you come to strengthen our faith? This is 2015, friends. The largest messianic network on Indonesia have been attacked by the anti-missionary, deceiving and lying to the believers. Now we are ready, not just we have been strengthening those believers. We are ready to bring the very first Torah to a country that is yet even to have a diplomatic relationship with Israel. I want you to take a minute and watch a 1 or 2 minutes. I address the crowd in this day. Many of them already left the faith. Many of them on the verge of leaving the faith. And I want you to see what it looked like when I responded to the rabbi and from this crowd. Tuvia Singer made this point. I quote again
Dan
from
pembicaranya
Tuvia Singer.
Tovia Singer
To show
menyatakan
you
ini
how bogus
untuk menyatakan betapa bohongnya
those charges are. The charges against
the charges
against Matthew.
Tuduhan terhadap Matius.
And he said Matthew misquoted
Dan dia bilang
the
Matius
Torah
salah mengutip Torah
and inserted verses that do not exist.
dan memasukkan ayat-ayat yang tidak ada.
So two things. Matthew is guilty of two things according to Tuvia Singer.
Jadi ada dua kesalahan Matius menurut Tovia Singer.
He took things out of context.
Dia mengambil sesuatu keluar dari konteks.
And then he added things that don't exist in the Hebrew Bible.
Dan dia menambahkan sesuatu yang sebetulnya tidak ada.
This is a serious allegation, don't you
Ini
agree?
tuduhan serius.
Well, let's look together.
Kita akan lihat
Yes.
sama-sama.
Because if it is true,
karena jika itu benar,
then Matthew is in serious trouble.
Ya, Matius itu bermasalah serius.
Okay. So let's look at the very first verse, the first charge. Don't have to go far. Matthew chapter 2.
Matius pasal 2, kita lihat.
In chapter 2, according to Tuvia Singer,
dalam pasal 2 menurut Tovia Singer,
Matthew's butchered Exodus and Hosea. Let us look together.
Matius
Let's look together. Matthew 2:15.
Kita lihat sama-sama. Matius 2 ayat 15.
In Matthew 2:15, it says, where he stayed,
di mana dia berdiam,
until the death of Herod,
sampai kematian Herodes,
and so was fulfilled what the Lord has said through the prophets.
Maka terpenuhilah apa yang dikatakan Tuhan melalui para nabi.
Out of Egypt,
dari Mesir,
I called out my son.
Aku memanggil anakku.
Well, Matthew is quoting actually here from the Torah.
Jadi sebetulnya Matius mengutip dari Torah.
And let's see what the Torah says.
Dan apa yang dikatakan Torah?
This is very important. I need you to be alert.
Ini sangat penting, jadi
This
perhatikan.
is very important. You need to know this.
Anda perlu tahu ini.
And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh,
dan kamu harus mengatakan kepada Firaun,
thus says the Lord,
demikianlah
Israel is my son.
Israel adalah anakku.
Who is my firstborn? Israel.
Anak.
Hosea 11:1. When Israel was a child,
Hosea 11 ayat 1, ketika Israel masih anak-anak,
then I loved him.
Saat itu aku
mengasihi dia. And out of Egypt I call up who?
Dan dari Mesir aku memanggil anakku.
How dare Matthew,
Bagaimana mungkin
taking the
Matius
words of the Hebrew Holy Bible
mengambil kata-kata dari kitab suci Ibrani
and lie about them?
lalu bohong tentang itu.
That is the point that Tuvia Singer made,
Itu yang dikatakan oleh
as
Tovia
he would
Singer.
suggest that Matthew had a plot
Dan dia menuduh bahwa Matius
to
punya
lie,
rencana
had a
untuk
plot to change the Hebrew Holy Tanakh.
mengubah kitab suci tanah.
Friends, first of all, let me tell you that that is not true. That is a lie.
Saya katakan pada Anda itu
And
tidak benar,
Matthew had
itu
no
bohong.
desire to change a jot or a tittle from Torah.
Dan
Let me start there. Before I answer for this,
sebelum saya jawab ini,
since we're on the roll, let's see another one.
kita lihat yang satu lagi.
Because it's the same chapter, just 8 verses.
I apologize for this brief delay here for a second. I think you got the gist of the video. And again, this video has been published and been watched by thousands upon thousands. The point of the matter is there is something significant that is happening right now in 2020. Not only that we launched the yeshiva in Indonesia, we are building a center and a Torah is going to be established. Are you understanding the significance? We turned the corner. People now know how to defend the faith because of this work that is being done. So Indonesia is entering a critical point into 2021. We're supposed to have the Torah there in 2020. We're not able to do that. But now in early in this year, we will be looking to see when we can scheduling it to once we see the situation of the pandemic. But the yeshiva is launching right away. First quarter 2021, we are launching the yeshiva because the root of the anti-missionaries is already there. They're already in the country. They're already working against the Messiah. And we are not just going to be victorious, but we are going to be also successful in defending the faith. So we talked about Brazil, we talk about Italy, Indonesia. Let me tell you another route, another very important route, and it seems like I'm jumping all over the world. I'm not. The spiritual reality is connected. And I want you to understand, all of this is connected. Those things are connected. Most of the people who are watching us, they just want knowledge. Please don't watch us if all what you want is knowledge. Go somewhere else. Go find another rabbi and teacher to study under. What we're looking for is to people who want to partake in the work and understanding, a real revelation of the last days, in the end times, and what God is doing right now. One of the worst roots that we have as Jewish people is Spain. We talk about the Sfaradim, where it's all stemmed from Spain. If you ever visited Spain as a nation, have you ever been in Spain? I had a chance to visit Spain. Spain is a highly anti-Semitic. You can smell the anti-Semitism in Spain. Do you know that pretty much all the Jews, what we call today the Mizrahi Jews, they all came eventually, they all rooted back to Spain in one way or shape or form. Spain was the capital of Judaism. And most of the churches even today, that say if you scrape the walls, you're going to find that formerly there used to be a synagogue. In reality, there are prophecy after prophecy speaking about Sepharad, about the Sfaradim, about the return of the Sfaradim. But I want to tell you something that you're probably not aware of. There is not a single messianic active synagogue, a real active messianic synagogue in Spain today. Do you know that? Look what God is doing. Last year, a messianic Jew, a real Jew that was raised in Judaism, strong Judaism, came to Yeshivat Shuvu. He is a lawyer by profession, but he felt a calling to move to Spain. He is now, as we speak, just moved to Spain with a vision of establish the yeshiva, the synagogue in Spain. This is a prophetic time. Remember what I told you, we're replacing old seeds, old roots with new roots. One of the major initiatives in 2021 is to do a physical event in Spain. And I am going to invite, or probably by the end of 2020, invite the entire Spanish world. If you're Spanish descendant, wherever you are, all over the world, come to cry for the Sfaradim. Remember that teshuvah, a crying, lamentation, all of those things are impressing the heavens. And we're in the process of preparing and planning for a major, first time ever event that's going to take place in Spain. This is something that we've been praying about for a long time, for years. And now God has given us a Jewish leader who established the work there. Again, why should I be interested in this? Because this is going to be impacting the seed of the house of Israel that is seeking to return, to come back. The prophets of Israel spoke about this so much. And we have an opportunity to awaken those scattered. And believe me when I tell you that the Jewish community is also watching all of this. This is an amazing opportunity for all of us to do something prophetic. And this is why your support is so important, because you're supporting something that is not done. I don't see any other messianic organization, especially not from America, that is going to go to Spain and do it. You know why? Because they're all Ashkenazic. They're Ashkenazim. They're focused only on Ashkenazi Judaism. But you and I know that there is much more to the Ashkenazi Judaism. We cannot ignore it. We cannot be blinded. We have to be very sensitive. We have to be sensitive to the prophet, to the prophets of Israel, what he said about the return of the scattered house of Israel. The other thing that is really important to understand about Sfaradim, you're going to go there, you work. I've been working in the Spanish, the Latin world for many years. It's hard. There are difficult people to deal with. You're not going to make money. You're going to lose money. It's difficult. Again, what is required, a lot of patience, financial commitment, financial investment. This is why your support today, we are 2 days to the end of the year. This is why this virtual synagogue, these needs that I told you about, this fund, right now is a time we need to step up. We need to make this a reality. All of those yeshivot, all of those, the Spanish work is growing leap and bound. Just imagine, soon enough, we will have a messianic kehillah in Spain. In Spain. This has not happened for hundreds and hundreds of years. What an opportunity for Yeshua to receive his proper context back in a place where the filth of Catholicism defamed the name of Yeshua. What an opportunity God is giving before us. Let me talk for a moment about the next region. So again, what we have for the Spanish world planned, again, I'm not a prophet. I cannot control the pandemic, but I will tell you, we'll have a worldwide call to the Sfaradim in a major event in 2021 in Spain. And it's going to be something very special. I really believe that in the spirit, it's going to move things. I want to talk about Africa. Africa this year has been my most pleasant surprise, maybe. We launched a dedicated yeshiva. And with your support, your help, we give away the Sidurim completely free of charge in Zimbabwe, and we're working now with this Jewish tribe. This is another form of Anusim. The Lamba is another form of Anusim. They have been scattered, and they still live in somewhat understanding that they have Judaism, because they are actually not the seed of Israel. They truly have the seed of the Levites, of the tribe of Levi. We know that. This is not something that I made up. It's something that science is telling us. We cannot refute science. This is not like the issue of the Ibu, when there is more difficulties in proving, by the way, a huge burden. We have a huge burden for the Ibu people. Now we're getting a report of Ibu people being murdered and by the way, those are confirmed, validated reports from those on the ground, being murdered for wearing a Magen David, a David star. I had a chance to visit there. We need to get back there. We need to support them. They need resources. Terrible situation. But now we're in the process of establishing this center for all of Africa, out of Zimbabwe, resources, make it all, subsidize it all, training and scholarship. This year, 300 scholarships. 300 scholarships. And you know what? We had a chance for the very first time ever, very first year ever, to share and teach our people how to celebrate Hanukkah. We actually bought a Chanukiah, shipped it, and got it into Zimbabwe. Look, this is this year. This is our people learning how to light the Chanukiah, learning how to establish the halacha, how to live their life as Jews. This is what Hashem is doing. It's not glamorous, it's not pretty, it's take work, it's take effort. Returning to Judaism is molded by your touchy and feely. It's about the mitzvah. It's about the doing. It's about learning to do things properly. It's about us teaching how to do things properly. And this is what we are about. It's not just teach prophecy or midrash and this, but to teach people. How do I celebrate Shabbat? How do I build a sukkah? How do I bless in Hanukkah? How do I do the Passover Seder? This is the part of the training that is critical. And we brought the very first Torah to the Lemba people. And let me tell you something. It was a humbling moment. People who've been for almost, 3,000 years, 2,500 years, been scattered, having some Jewish tradition orally passed down, but they have nobody to train them. Some becoming Muslim, some turn to other gods, some convert to Orthodox Judaism. We cannot afford to lose the race. And we are in a race. So we put together this program under the influence of the Holy Spirit. God says, give 300 scholarships. Right there. A couple of $100,000, friends. This is a lot of money. A lot of resources. And you are making it a reality. Your donation, making it a reality. I want you to understand this. I said to everybody who watches, if you want just a guy sit and give you a beautiful message, really smart guy, it's not me. Okay? I am not focused on teaching. My focus is on doing, It's on the doing part. And that is the essence of what it's meant to be Jewish. It is on the doing. It's not on the teacher. You want good teacher? Go. I can give you a list of 50 teachers that speak English better than me, can give you a better. No, it's not about this. It's about the mitzvah. It's about the doing. It's about seeing our first and foremost, our physical branch and the grafted in branch returning properly. If they don't return properly, it says as you have a spark that doesn't have the proper nutrient to become a light. And what happened to the spark that it does not become a light? It's ended up dying. It's fall to the klipot. And this is the last thing we want to do. We don't want things to fall into the klipot. You understand? We don't want to redefine Judaism either. What we do want to do is to bring the Messiah through Judaism forward. So just as in the story of Yaakov, the brothers will return Yosef to Yaakov, but it will be the authentic Yaakov, the authentic Yosef who is returning back to the Father. And this is important. This is a calling. And the vision here is clear. Please watch me. This is the very first Shabbat that the Lemba brothers share with me. And I want to thank the Lord for Higher Life Foundation in Zimbabwe. What an amazing individuals. Oh my goodness, God is sending an angel. And he raised those angels, those heroes like my brother Daniel, who take his own family. What kind of a person will take his own family and say, I'm moving to another country to fulfill my calling as Messianic Jew? Or in the case of the Masiwa family in Higher Life Foundation, what kind of a person opening their offices and say, Rabbi Shapira, what do you need? We'll help you. Who does those kind of things? I'll tell you who does those kind of things. Only people who are filled with the Spirit of God and the Spirit of the Messiah, and they are full in understanding of the last days. And I tell you something, God is raising heroes. And if I give you the list of them, I can give you a list of them right now. I can give you right now Pastor Matt McEwen, Dr. Wheeler, Rabbi Bernstein, Joseph John, Tzitzi Masiwa, Tamar Hartman, Luana Rodriguez. I can go on and on and on and on and tell you about those people. Iris Toro, our entire staff. We got the vision. We understand the vision. And God is raising. And these people have nothing in common with one another. They don't look the same. They don't laugh at the same joke. They have nothing in common on the physical. But I tell you something, when you look at them on the spiritual level, they're identical. Those people are identical. I see them, I see a mirror copy in each and every one of them. And it's have nothing to do with their ethnicity. It's have to do with the one that dwell inside of them. And right now, God is doing in Africa is a move of God, because Africa have seeds, so many seeds from the house of Israel. And when I look at the prophets and I say, oh my God, what did you say, God, in Isaiah and Jeremiah and even Moses? I see the prophecies. They're coming to life. Please take a moment, watch this with me. This is humbling moments to understand why exactly we donated those scholarships. why this is important, why we release the Siddur, what this is all about. Check this out. This is absolutely incredible. Oh my goodness. This is a video with the leaders of our Jewish Lemba tribe. And look what they have to say.
Now I do my Shabbat worship under Bnei Aaron Lemba Ministries. And we got our own Rabbi Amandishe. We will probably ask Rabbi Shapira to give him the qualification, isn't it? Yes. Now we've seen him coming back now again. And as powerful as ever. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend yesterday. But from what I hear, it was just as usual, educative, enriching, and I think now, gradually, slowly, we are becoming very much aware of our position as the Lemba in this country. We've always known about our link with Israel. And I believe that no one of us here knew the extent until now. And the depth that we are getting into now. And I think every Lemba person is realizing the enormity of the responsibility that a Lemba has. And as Rabbi Shapira said, if the Lembas were selfish people, this is the time to discard selfishness, to really play our role as children of Israel. Abraham was given the responsibility of preserving the word of God and eventually spread it throughout the world. And this is the responsibility that we have. And we want to thank Rabbi Shapira for his efforts, which we see he is not giving up at all. We have received him in different ways. We gave him a hard time. He's not giving up. So I think what we should really realize is that I think God has sent to us Rabbi Shapira to awaken us and do what we are supposed to be doing, to do exactly what God sent us to come and do in this part of the world. Thank you very much, Rabbi Shapira. And I want to thank you.
Thank you. What you're watching here, friends, when he said they give me a hard time, this is an understatement. It's difficult. It's remained difficult. And frankly, they were surprised we came back. But as the Terminator said, I'll be back. Rabbi Shapira said, I'll be back. And this is something that I want you to know. We cannot quit. Quitting is not an option. We can fail, we can fall, but what is the scripture says? Who is the tzaddik? One who falls 7 times and stand up 7 times. And now the corner is turned to the point we have a dedicated yeshiva in Africa that now extended, I need you to hear me carefully, to any African American. God has spoken to us about Africa, African American, and a messianic connection. This is a clear word He's giving me, and I'm working on it very hard right now. Very hard. See, a lot of you watch and you think, well, Shabbat, you come on Shabbat, Rabbi, you're like a regular rabbi. That's all what you do. You come Shabbat morning and you give message and you go your happy way. No, friends, please understand, virtual synagogue, which take a lot of time, is just a small part of what we are doing day in and day out. We have to quickly raise them up in Africa, quickly. We have not even a second. We have not even a day to waste. We don't have any time to waste. The people are ready, and we have to put this before them. And supporting this work today is really supporting the redemption of the house of Israel. When you read in the scripture about God in gathering all the people of Israel, what do you think it is? What do you think is happening right now? We are witnessing the fulfillment of prophecy in front of our eyes. That is what is happening right now. And you're part of this. And I want you to be part of this. Because this is not a move that belongs to a man or a woman or a person. This is a move of God for the last days. This is truly a move of God for the last days. This is one of our biggest opportunity in the days ahead. What is happening in Africa right now among the land? And they're just one. There are others who are reaching out and asking for help and support. We have Kenya, Ivory Coast, Nigeria. Now, they're all coming and saying, we are in the scattered out of Israel. And of course, the first thing that goes to somebody's mind, he said, prove it. But if you read carefully the prophet, what the prophet tells us, it said that they will resemble Gentiles. They will have just a tiny bit of the house of Israel, but everything else they will resemble Gentiles. And we need to understand and be sensitive to this and work among those scattered groups. Because we are not the only one in the game. Chabad is doing the same thing. The problem is Chabad have millions. We don't. We are fighting a battle that we cannot come on a second place. I want you to hear me today. We cannot afford to come on second place. It's a battle to bring the Torah, and it's a battle to bring the Mashiach together, to the Jew first and then to the non-Jew as well. We are in a race. I feel that we are in a race. I feel we don't have time to waste. And that's why this technology have to expand. If you're watching, you just join in. Friends, we are recapping 2020. We're talking about 2021 and 2020 and beyond. I've been going through Brazil, Italy, India, Indonesia, Spain, Africa. Let's talk about Sri Lanka for a moment. You know that last week, it was the 2 years anniversary from where I brought the Torah to Sri Lanka. 2 years anniversary. And you said, what's the big deal? Here it's the big deal. The day I brought the Torah to Sri Lanka, you're about to watch it in a minute, it was the same day that they abolished teaching Hebrew in the seminaries. To the date, I had no idea that this is the exact same day that Hebrew was abolished from the seminaries. It's a miracle. It's absolutely a miracle. And 2 years later, exactly to the day is the day that the Siddur is big, the Besorah according COVID-19 book is full of Hebrew, is being published inside Sri Lanka. Now you tell me, who can orchestrate something like that except to God and God himself? Nobody can orchestrate stuff like this. I've been taking you in a journey all over the world with me this evening because I want you to get the messianic global vision with us and believe. Don't just come and attend the synagogue because you want to get a good message from Rabbi Shapira. Please, this is not the reason to be here. God is looking for you. What is the message of the Besorah according to COVID-19? God is looking for a vessel today. And my challenge to you is, are you this vessel? Look at how God sees everything, time and space. 2 years to the week, almost to the week, to the day, a Torah arrived 2 years later. 2 years later to the day, we publish the publishing house is launching in Sri Lanka. And of course, before that, on the same day, 50 years, 100 years before, is when Hebrew was prohibited to being launched. Check this out together with me, will you?
For your name is holy, holy, Lord. Your name is holy, Lord. Your name is holy, holy,
This is a moment that is worth really everything. It is a moment, when you look at Jerusalem from heaven, when you look from outer space at Jerusalem, you notice something very interesting. In the mountains, you can see from outer space, I don't know if you ever see this picture, the name of God. He put his stamp of approval upon the land of Israel. And here it says, Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah u'devar Adonai miYerushalayim. From the out of Zion shall come forth the word, the Torah, and the word of the Lord out of Jerusalem. The word and Yeshua, the word is Yeshua, and the Torah are being stamped right this moment upon this land. He is putting his stamp upon this land. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? He's putting this, hold this for a second. He's putting this stamp, and this is what I want us to pray this morning. Dinesh is my student in the yeshiva. He is overseer of all Shuvu Sri Lanka, and I've been watching him carefully over the years, just being so humble, such a humble servant of the mighty one of Israel. And I promise you something about Dinesh and his wife and his children. They're all here. They're all serving. This is not going to be just married for you. It will be married for your children and your grandchildren whenever they come, and for this entire nation. It's an action of one person who can bring merit to the community. So I must say, if it wasn't for Dinesh and his humility and his love for his people, I wouldn't be here today. But I also wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Benjamin from Indonesia, and Andre from Singapore, for Ralph from Australia, for Danny from Malaysia, for Mark from Australia, for Nick from the Hagan. I wouldn't be here Because this is a team. We unite each other. We have something in common. And this thing that we have in common is the Torah. As much as this Torah belongs to you, the nations belong to all of us. Our sages said that there are 600 letters in the Torah. Each son of Israel has a letter attached to him. What about you? Do you want a letter from this Torah? Who wants a letter from this Torah? You see, this Torah is made up.
As you watch just a little bit, I want you to understand what's happening right now prophetically. This is important because we're talking about 2020 and beyond. Look at Sri Lanka. We are in the final stages. In this year, we already have the land, the plot to build the very first Messianic synagogue in Sri Lanka. And I'm talking about a real synagogue. Daniel Rodrigo has been the very first ordained Torah teacher out of Sri Lanka. And now they're putting plans in place, final plans, to establish either late 2021 or maybe early 2022 to have the synagogue established. Friends, this is restoration. This is a path. This is a return. Now there will be synagogue. There is a full messianic movement, national messianic movement that is being established in front of our eyes. This is a miracle. And I want you to understand the implication that one person can change. One person can change it all. You can be the person today, change it by faith, if not by faith, by work, if not by work, by giving, if not by giving, by praying. But each and every one of you have a role to play today. Don't cut yourself short and you don't imagine. I get one phone call from Asia. One person had faith. And because of that, I launched the work in one country. This one mustard seed now multiplied to countless different countries all over the world, especially in Asia. Why? It's because the one person has the faith. So we broke the spirit of Edom now. Hebrew is being spoken again. The Jewish community love us. Yes, not the Messianic, the normative Jewish community. We have absolutely great relationship with the Jewish community. Number 3, a synagogue is being established, a real synagogue right now. Friends, I hope you're blessed by this. You understand what is happening in 2021. We have a couple other things to discuss. We are getting ready to launch formally the work with the Besorah according COVID-19 in South Korea. Formal launching of the work in France. And I want to talk for a moment specifically about Arabic. We are translating the Siddur to Arabic. You should know, I will not give up, never, on the Muslim world. The reason is because the Muslims and the Arabs, they're our cousins. They need to hear about Yeshua and they need to come back too. We're planning to give worldwide the Siddur Ahavat Olam in Arabic for free. This is going to be a major initiative into 2021. Even right now, people contact us from Dubai, Bahrain, people contacting us from Morocco. My desire is to make this available for free for any Arabic-speaking person all over the world. Again, today you have opportunity to really make an impact and make it still count as a gift for 2020. The question that I have for you today is, do you have faith? I promise you, if I had a teaching right now, we'd have 3 times the amount of people. But when I talk about things that are actually important, not something that consuming people like knowledge, but I talk about things that's really important. Like the business of the kingdom, people usually not interested. I'm telling you this as a word for 2021. Be around the business of the kingdom. Don't just fill yourself, because it's not about you. It's not about me. It's about the coming of the King who are standing in the path. We have a few other things that I have to discuss for 2021. Now that you understand the breadth by geography, let me briefly talk about them to the best of my ability. Take a breath, because a lot of those things are in the work and they are still raw. I cannot make all of those promises, but a lot of them are going to happen sooner than later. So here we go. Why is your support so important? On top of everything I discussed, we are going to launch a dedicated women channel to teach Torah. You heard it right. I believe women should be really teaching women, and women should feel safe around other women without men intervention. We have been raising some incredible Torah teachers and Torah scholars in Yeshivat Shuvu, and we are going to launch in January, a dedicated women channel to teach Torah. I know this is an exciting time, exciting announcement. Announcement number 2. I'm very hopeful that here around the corner, we will be able to launch a messianic 24/7 web TV station that broadcasts Torah 24/7. Initially in English, and then I would like to launch it in Spanish and all the other languages. It is time to broadcast to the world, and we're going to make it a reality. I'm asking you for real intensive prayers for web TV station that I've been working on. God willing, number 3, we have about 5 or 6 Torah revivals. As soon as the pandemic lifted up, we are going to look to see how it is. I'm also going to resurrect the Torah Fund to help communities, international communities, to do Torah revivals as God allow us. Number 4, we're going to release a new publication called The Boy Kala in the middle of 2020. Middle of 2021. It's a typo for Friday night with a commentary, with all the wonderful melodies by the cantor. I'm sure many of you are really excited now. And then here's a big one for you. When we are looking for 2 more worldwide events and 2 more publications, like 100 Gates, 100 Shofar, the Night of the Bride. This year, we're going to focus on the biggest one of all, the Yom Kippurim, the Yom Kippur. This is arguably probably the most important one. And may God give us the strength and the finances and the intelligence to release Yom Kippur Siddur in countless languages. Of course, we cannot discuss it yet, but I just want to show you the plan. And then also we're going to release the Siddur for Sukkot, including the Oshanot, the Hakafot, everything in one place. And if people will support it, and that's a picture of big if, we're probably going to make both of those available free of charge. And then I can't stop and talking about the Besorah according to COVID-19. This is arguably the most important book that I have ever released. And in my opinion, this is a book that everybody have to get in their hand. It's going to be released during the next few days in Spanish, but you should know by January, we will complete the Italian, the German, the French, and the Korean will come a little bit later. All of those translations happening. And if you have not had a chance to read the Besorah according to COVID-19, friends, the message of the book, forget about the vaccine. Understand what God is telling you. It's one book everybody have to read as soon as possible. Invest in something that will move your spirit. I pray it will in the name of Yeshua. Good News COVID-19.net. It's a book, it's a treasure. Also, it's available in Spanish. And again, what is the word for 2021? Some of you will rebuild the ancient ruins, will raise up an age-old foundation, will be called repair of the breach, restore of the state for dwelling. It is you that God wants to use in these last days. Of course, God can use you. He wants to use you. No matter what shape you are, He wants to use you today. I hope this presentation today, I know it's been lengthy, almost 2.5 hours, speak to your spirit. So what can you do? How can you be part of it? There are a few things I want to give you, and then if you have any questions to us, I will take some questions. So you can type them to the chat, and I will do my very best to answer any question you have about anything I share with you today. But let me close with this last word that I think is important and significant to discuss. Now you understand the complete picture of what 2021 looked like. You can do a couple of things. Number one, spread the message. Subscribe to our channels and promote the work that is being done worldwide. Please help us. It's a snowball. People don't like enough, they don't share enough, they don't subscribe enough. We should and we can get to more people, reach more people, but we need your help. Number two, become a regular supporter of the work that is being done. I cannot stress enough how much this financial support is critical, especially now we are an independent organization. And without this support, none of this can function. Number three, consider, this is for those who are really serious, consider joining Yeshivat Shuvu or maybe kosher pastor programs. This is our internal yeshiva, and that is the best place to come and be discipled, in my opinion. And again, you can check it out, www.shuvu.tv or kosherpastor.com. And then number four, continued prayers for Ahavat Ammi and our staff. I am not joking when I tell you that we're working so hard that at times my wife tells me she's worried I'm going to crash one day and collapse. And I pray that God give me strength and the rest of our staff to not just keep it going, but to build into this significantly, put a lot more into this, because I feel the more we do, the more overwhelmed I am with everything that I believe we need to do. And we have absolutely tremendous work ahead of ourselves. The first hurdle that I want to see us overcoming is these fiber optics right now, to get this installed and to make this happen. Even right now, as we speak, we are still over $14,000 short, and we have 2 days to raise these funds. So I'm praying that God will provide for that and give us the opportunity to do this in excellence and Now it's a time, if you have, I'm going to pray, if you have questions about anything, Ahavat Ammi or the yeshiva or the synagogue or the plans or geographies, if you want to ask me anything, I'm going to, once a year I do this, and I'm taking your questions as our friends and supporters. So just type in your question and I'm going to answer them. But while I'm waiting for questions, I'm going to pray. Abba, thank you for the work that is being done. The work is great, but Lord, we cannot rest. We cannot stop. We have to push forward because the end days, the end times is near, is here. The Geulah is at the door. Mashiach is knocking on the door, asking, Lord, that all of those pieces, the outreach, all the channel, all the people who labor around this, the yeshivot, the virtual synagogue, Lord, all those three pieces will work together in a way that honor the God of Israel and bring Messiah one step closer. Bring the Messiah one step closer. So, Lord, we ask for a provision, not just financially, but also, or especially, in the revelation, in the wisdom, in the understanding. Thank you, Lord, that you have given us this opportunity to do this, and you send many who are understanding the vision, they're getting the vision, and they're putting seed into the vision in different ways. If it's through prayer, especially needed now is this financial support, so we can upgrade what we need to upgrade, but also in other ways that we don't always see. Thank you, Lord. We bless your name, and we ask about the 2021 will be the year for all of us, when we take old seeds, old roots, the roots of Edom, the root of Esav, and we do exactly what Moses did. He grind them. He grind the root, and he spread it over the water, and he gave it to the house of Israel and said, drink it now. Drink it. And Israel consumed it. May we consume the things that's stopping us. And by you, I just speak this word, not just for us, for the synagogue, but and for the outreaches, but I speak this word for all of us here. You said, Lord, in Micah 2:13, 2:12, I will surely gather Jacob, all of you. I will surely gather the remnants of Israel. I will put them together like a sheep in a pen, like a flock within its pasture. They will be noisy with people. One breaking through will go before them. They will break through, pass through the gate, and go out by it. Their king will pass through before them, Adonai at their head. Thank you, Lord, for the power to break through, the power to break out. We ask about in the name of Yeshua that you give us this great power to break out in this year. In the mighty name of Messiah Yeshua. Amen and amen. Praise be to God. I see that there are no questions. That's mean that I have done okay job in giving you a real picture of what's happening. And I hope that you will be part of this and enjoy this adventure, this journey, and with us and partake in whatever way God is giving you the means to partake, financial, spiritual, whatever it is. It's great to have you here. It's great for you to be in this journey. Thank you for being here. We bless the Lord for you. There is one question. I'm going to take it. Is from Mariano. Mariano, you're asking the question: what can other Messianic Jewish synagogue we're going to do to support the work? I mean, look, Mariano, I'll be honest with you. We are not mainstream. We are not mainstream. Mainstream Messianic Judaism is Christianity. That's all what it is. Excuse me, I spoke truth. I don't want to introduce you to Christianity with a little Hebrew flavor. That's not productive. It will not do anything. I would love to see more Messianic communities that support Ahavat Ammi Ministries, but my focus is on the work, not on PRs, not on this, not on, my focus on the work. So I don't really have time to go and knock on many doors. I simply do not have this type of time. I run the largest yeshiva in the world, Messianic yeshiva in the world. And the synagogue takes a lot of time. And then on the top of that is we have all the outreaches, all the Torah revivals. You have to understand, we're human beings too. I'm a father, I'm a husband. So it's complicated. It's very complicated when you have such a big mission before you and everybody coming to us. So I hope some leaders will watch the program, Mariano, and they would want to support us. But we cannot make it. I mean, a lot of the Messianic movement is also very competitive. We are not first we're not first a synagogue. We're first an outreach organization, educational, and then we have the synagogue, which is a function of the outreach. So a lot of people look at us now because we've grown so much as a threat to them now. Because we can become a threat to them, they stop supporting us. If you want to know the truth, that is the truth. They say, oh, now you're on my turf. But really, in reality, we launched the virtual synagogue to support this need that exists. And I believe what we do in the virtual synagogue, we do very well. And we give you an authentic Jewish experience that is filled with the Messiah. The ultimate thing is get even synagogues, communities into kosher pastor, yeshivat shuvu. It's amazing programs. Get the sidurim. There's a lot of things that can be done, but unfortunately, the Messianic movement is far too fragmented. So we have a network of, I don't know, about 50, 60 kehilot that we are working inside Yeshivat Shuvu. And we love to have more communities joining into this network. In order to join the network, you have to be a student of the yeshiva or involved in some level in the yeshiva. So thank you for the question. Miriam, you ask, how long does the application process take to Yeshivat Shuvu? It's depend, Miriam. We've been really behind. And one of the reasons, Miriam, we've been really behind is to be frank with you, is we gave all those scholarships with the URI program, and it slowed us down greatly, and we're still playing catch up. So I know if you submit an application, I would say just be really patient with us, give us grace. And I'm sure that the first or second week in January, you're going to be hearing from us. Okay? So I hope this is answer. This is a question. If we have two jobs, can we tie to our congregation from our job? job in Ahavat Ammi Ministries. It's a second job. I'm not sure it's biblical. Okay, I feel both at home. Hope it makes sense. Well, I know your home congregation. First of all, let me say, your home congregation is my student. Okay, so support my student. If you support my student, you support me, because my very first responsibility is to my students. That's the way it's supposed to work. A rabbi is responsible for his student. So if you're in the community, support your student. Support my student, who is the leader that you are under. Now, Ahavat Ammi Synagogue is the main, is the core, and they need to support Ahavat Ammi. And I'm sure that they do that. I don't know, but I'm sure that they do. But I hope that's answering your question. Now, if God wants you to give more, then do it. But I know the community you are in love the people, and I would want you to support them because they need the support very, very much. So thank you for the question, Veronica. I am thankful for this time we spent together this evening. I know it's been a long broadcast. Again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us, and let's see if we can hit this immediate target and get excited about 2021. 2020 was amazing, but 2021 is going to be even more amazing. And we bless the Lord for all of you. Again, thank you so much, and have Laila Tov, and 2021 be a year of Geulah upon you, your family, and all the work. Thank you again. Laila Tov.